Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics, where we discuss some very complex and exotic supernatural subjects that you might not hear talked about elsewhere, such as where we go when we die and what it's like, based on credible sources of information. Tonight we're talking about the concept of money and economies in other dimensions. Probably again breaking new ground, kind of, but it's based on information from credible mediums, out of body experiencers, and communication from deceased people that those of us in this field are familiar with. So before we begin, a couple quick notes. Uh, First, if you like this kind of stuff, please hit the subscribe button so the channel can grow, so YouTube continues to recommend the channel to other people. You can hit the like button, the share button, and the notification bell, as well as subscribe. Really helps keep this thing going. Really depend on you to help support what I'm doing. Next up, a couple funny notes. So as you may have noticed, I've been experimenting with different audio techniques. I used to actually work in video once upon a time, but clearly I've forgotten most of what I learned. I bought like a $45 headset and was trying to make videos with that, if in case you noticed recently. And then I found uh, these earphones that came with my Galaxy S7, compared the audio, and found out that this is way better than the headset. So I went to Best Buy today and took the headset back. How funny is that? I still have my nice big podcast microphone, but I think it's clunky, and I'm leaving the country in a couple days. I don't know if I'm going to be keeping that with me. So, as you can see, I'm just trying out some different things. Anyway, so let's get back to the topic at hand. So this was a thread on Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics that said, basically the gentleman who was posting this was saying that he doesn't have a dream job. He doesn't want to be in the system again on this higher density level that's still kind of like this world where you have to pay for things and make ends meet to survive. I've talked about in the previous videos, but the middle astral level, where in my experience people are still using money and using money-based systems, stuff that seems to go away when we get to these higher density astral levels where it's less and less similar to human civilization, whereas the middle astral is much like a continuation of the world we're in now. And so this gives a lot of people anxiety about different elements of that, which I can understand. But it also is why so many mediums will say Uncle Larry is fly fishing, because he really is fly fishing, because the middle astral is not that much different in some ways from this world. And it's a very populated place with what appears to be economies. Uh, so anyway, so we had a response by Michelle Page, the medium. And so she had some perspectives from her communication, her hotline to the afterlife. And she says, yes, there are economies on the other side and people still work to earn, but it's to keep busy, not to provide. If you go to a restaurant with an empty wallet, order the most expensive plate and booze on the menu and eat it. Afterwards, you'll just, I guess, just magically find the money for your meal in your wallet along with something for the server. So I read this and I'm like, I get where you're coming from, Michelle, but to me, like, I find that extremely illogical. Like, why not just move to a moneyless system if people are just creating money in their wallets, if it's just magically appearing? Because I do know that in some levels of the other side, like, your subconscious is always making stuff around you. Like there's that, like, listen to the Leslie Flint tapes. There's the one lady who said there's always a cup of tea waiting for her when she gets home, because like her higher self or her subconscious is just like grabbing that stuff out of the matrix all day, and she's not even doesn't have to be aware of it. So maybe you can find that there's always money in your wallet. You don't have to think about it. But I find this very weird, and let's talk about how that's kind of the debate between the objective and the subjective. Do we necessarily want to be in a world where just everything is just appears with us automatically? Isn't kind of the whole point of like being challenged a little bit by physicality? Is that it's not that abstract? So I said this is part of this debate about subjective versus objective, but I think the very reason people exist on middle astral levels is so that existence is still, shall we say, objective to some degree. So why even accept the money if it's just monopoly money that's fabricated out of the mind entirely? It would be highly illogical to then take that money and take it seriously. So why even have an economy where people are making money if the money is a joke? Like, why not just switch to a completely moneyless system? Unless people are just really just living kind of in la la land. We can't have it both ways. If that were the case, a restaurant would exist and it would be simply moneyless, which is how Jurgen has described it when he's described higher level astral environments going to restaurants. And of course, it's a moneyless system. People work because they want to work. They work as servers because they want to serve other people. Cooks want to create food. Um, and to me, that makes a lot more sense than using monopoly money. But in my experiences going out of body, it's kind of, I'm not sure where I am with this because I thought about it, then I realized, well, maybe Michelle has a point because I don't remember like specifically making money, but I remember having money on me. But the thing is, I also am aware of maybe having jobs on that side that I obviously here I don't have any recollection of. I remember I have experiences of people talking about money, wanting to get X amount of money to go do some cool thing. So for me, I don't really know. I guess that's the best way to put it. I mean, it's just kind of weird. So Michelle responds, in all seriousness, yes, it's an illusion because it's not necessary to have money, but humans have been using some type of economic system since we started making things and began trading them. We still have it in us to pay for services and goods when we're not corporeal. It's not my terminology. I'll probably say when we're just not, when we're on the higher density. But we don't need to have a baseline economy like we have here. It's a choice to do this, not a need. It's akin to the fact we don't need cars on the other side to travel, but we enjoy what a car gives to the point we still drive them on the other side. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but it's just based on my experiences, because I've come to find a lot of people are not physically capable yet of teleportation and flying and things like that. So a lot of people drive the cars out of necessity because they haven't learned that skill. And that's why I have memories of like classes where people learn how to fly. And sure, the higher levels don't do this, but we're not immediately at the higher levels. Of course, I agree that. We stick to what's comfortable and normal, and one of those things is generating an economy. I respond, I think the only area of disagreement is that on that lower level, I don't think people would be able to just think up the money in their pocket, or else nobody would actually be using money. It'd be a moneyless system. I'd say that the very reason money is still used is also because on that middle level, it's not so easy to manifest things with the mind, as I just said. In my experience, people go ooh and ah to people who are performing magical abilities, conjuring, flying. So it seems like an acquired skill. I don't think money has nearly the same weight because theoretically, even based on what I'm saying, like Michelle's still right because somebody could still be counterfeiting the money with their mind at home. They can learn that skill, learn how to create something, learn how to make money. So there's no way money could have the same value. So if it is, I don't know. Maybe the truth is somewhere in between. So maybe I don't know about just everyone just always having money on them because why even give money? I mean, just you know. Here's an example. I was at a restaurant astrally, and there was this waitress who I was basically flirting with for like half an hour. And I had a meal, but I don't remember where my money came from that I paid for it. But I remember she came out again later with some tiramisu, and she said, "Here, you can have this for free." And so I remember this is more like I'm remembering things from my life over there. Like so, the way I feel, the way I react would be congruent to like my actual life and lifestyle on that side. And I reacted very positively to being given this tiramisu for free. So if the money had no value, then I wouldn't have reacted that way. And I'm living on that side, but I mean, let's face it, I know what's going on. I'm not on that side like ignorant about higher realms or the way it all works, or living in some kind of fantasy land. So I'm there playing by the rules of that realm, and it seems like those rules, money has some kind of value. If it didn't have value, then it would have been pointless for this girl to give me free tiramisu. Um, and by the way, in case you're wondering some more details, in that experience, I was in astral version of Tucson, and I was with my father, going out to eat with him, trying to get him out of the house. I don't know what it was, but right. So so the fact that I got something for free tells me something, and the fact that I do see people working jobs for money. See where else does this conversation go? Ken says, this is Michelle talking about her SO on the other side. Ken says he still reaches for his wallet to pay for things. It's been a few years since he's been on the other side of the fence. He still engages in his business and takes money from people even though there's no intrinsic value for the money. And he still goes to work because if he didn't, he'd get bored out of his mind because he was ADHD in life and gets fidgety if he's not doing something. I know what that's like. Um, he gave me the hyperbolic description of the restaurant to show that money has no value, but we exchange it anyways because we're habituated to do it. Not everyone pulls money out to pay, but many do, and no one looks at you like you've got horns growing out of your head. In short, Econ 101 doesn't apply because there is no need to give a baseline cost for goods. But it's more interesting and fun to act as if one still exists without the mental and physical stress of not knowing where the next dollar is coming from. That's why I've called it like World of Warcraft money. The thing is, I mean, what I'm describing though, what she's describing, even World of Warcraft money would have more intrinsic value because you can't just replicate it. Like there's even people still sell World of Warcraft money for real money, and you still have to go out and hunt monsters and work to get it, which is kind of what makes the game fun. So there's that. I've never read what Jurgen has written. Although even though the husband of one of my mentors is a seasoned traveler and has had a lot of experience with different universes and entities, I've never talked about it with him. I guess this topic, it's not her area of focus. Well, it's a really interesting area. I'll tell you that. The way I see it is that regardless of, even though like I'm coming at this from a little bit of a different angle, I think that the truth is that the money won't have as much intrinsic value, even if it at least has some intrinsic value, and certainly not like it does here. And I think people might be paying with money just because what money is on an energetic level is it's a symbol of work. So it means that I've contributed something to the society in some way, and the society has given me back something to prove it, and I'm going to use that proof to reap the rewards of somebody else's contribution. So that's actually what money is. The banking system and all these things that some people call the Babylonian money magic system was an invention of human society to keep people in debt, to help the elite siphon resources from all of us. Many people in this world want to move to a moneyless economy, which makes sense, and it makes sense if there is some element of that happening on a higher density level like this, to move away from a money system entirely. The way money could work positively if it's just a symbol that you've contributed to the economy, and you're going to use that to prove that you've done something in exchange for somebody else's service. It's probably the way money's supposed to work on a more pure level. And if you don't have money, there should still be enough resources to take care of you. On that side, it's the fact that we don't like have biological needs as bad as we do here. We're not going to die of starvation. I think there was basically free land. Anybody who wants a place to live is going to be living in a place. You don't have to eat to survive. And anything you really need or want can be potentially created mentally with at least some level of magical ability to be able to do it. Um, so in that sense, it's a resource-based economy. In this world, if we want to get to that level, then we would need to have technology to be able to get us to that point, or we'd need to shift more into the middle astral density level, to be able to start doing what they're doing, which I think is possible. This is what the extraterrestrials say, is that basically this world can become like the middle astral. The middle astral, I mean, I always think of it in computer terms. That's a different server. So this is like the second server, the second game that's going on. And we're way behind the middle astral, but we could get up to where they are using our mental abilities to conjure things if our density, if our vibration changes, it gets up to that high enough of a level. Otherwise, we need technology. So if we all had like replicators in our houses and it provides everything we need, similar to how you could create things mentally, but it's creating things technologically. And if you want to eat something, you just press a button and it basically like Star Trek. Then just like what we're talking about here, money would still exist, but it wouldn't have that same level of intrinsic value. So we wouldn't, in other words, we wouldn't be slaves to money, which would radically help all people, because that's one of the biggest issues with our existence here is this money slavery system. And one thing I can be certain of is that it doesn't exist on higher densities. And it probably doesn't exist in many other places in the galaxy. I just don't think there's any ET that does this, that has any level of awareness. So it kind of shows you just what a slavery-based society that we're in. But that said, money still has, in my opinion, a pure element to it. An economy doesn't necessarily have to be a slave system. You can still use dollars to represent things. But just the way we do it on this planet sucks. Well, that's about it for this video. If you like this stuff, check out afterlifetopics.com. Check out my books like Understanding Life After Death. You can sign up for my classes twice a week at afterlifetopics.com/university. Join the Facebook group. Head to the YouTube description below for those links. You can head to my Facebook author page. You can give that a like. Shoot me a message on there. Let me know what you're up to. And I'll see you guys on the next video.